On the 20th of January 2025, something changed in the world of artificial intelligence, especially in the world of AI tools like ChatGPT, Glamour, and of course, most recently, DeepSeek. I'm speaking about this Chinese AI tool called DeepSeek, which was released on the 20th of January. And since its release is taking the world by storm, like some of you might have known, the US stock market crashed just on the release of that software. It quickly rose to be the most downloaded software on the Apple App Store and continues to take the world by storm. What is the significance of all this, you would say? And this is what I want to talk about even in this short reflection for my audience, because as someone who is a keen observer of what's happening in the AI world, I think there are things for us as computational modelers, as academics, to be interested in, and lessons that we're going to learn as regards the emergence of DeepSeek. If you're interested in this, let's sit back and relax as we get into this video. So my name is Dr. Michael Okereke. I'm a university academic and I'm host of this YouTube channel. And what I do mostly in this channel is to talk about computational modeling. But I'm also making quite a lot of videos, most recently around artificial intelligence. I've been very interested in the impact of AI tools on universities, especially in terms of assessment, in terms of learning, in terms of helping students to become the best they can when it comes to their academic work. And increasingly, AI is disrupting the academic landscape of higher education. And so it makes sense for us to be interested. So when AI tools like DeepSeek becomes available, we do definitely need to take notice. And so this is why I want to look at some of this and sort of offer some reflection as to what we are going to do. And this is why I'm calling this the lessons that we need to learn, especially as university administrators, as academics, as interested persons, as we watch the world respond to the emergence of DeepSeek. I think the first lesson is probably not an obvious one. This really inspired me a lot. And that is the limitless capacity of PhD students. I, for one, I supervise students and I look after the PhD activity within my university, and I see the spirit, the zeal, the dedication, and the capacity of PhD students to work and to make the difference in the world. So it's been reported that majority of the people that are behind DeepSeek, who are the young geniuses that led to the creation of this amazing software in a short period of time for limited budget with limited technological resources, are PhD students. So this really is gratifying to someone like me who works within academia, and I engage with PhD students quite a lot, and a lot of my audience on this channel are PhD students. And so what I want to say to you as we engage with the news of DeepSeek is that you, the PhD students that worked behind this software, behind this product, you are the winners, you are the heroes. And that speaks to the spirit of every PhD person that is watching this video. I want to tell you that you are the hero, and you should just carry on working hard, because you can make a whole lot of difference in the world if you do not give up. Sorry to interrupt your video. I just want to bring you 2 points. The first one is, please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. I really would like to have you as part of the member in this community of computational modeling, where we explore everything about computational modeling, so that when contents like this are made, you'll be the first to see it. Again, if you have ideas or videos you would like me to make along this whole philosophy of what this channel is about, please, again, do subscribe, do leave me a comment, and I will look at them and try and respond as much as possible. The second thing I want to let you know is that I'm building a live cohort masterclass. This is the very first that I've ever done on this channel, and it's something that people have requested quite a lot, that I should help make videos to sort of teach them more in depth about computational modeling across the issues that I make on this channel, like RVE modeling, like periodic boundary conditions, different designs, and a whole wide range of computational modeling issues. If you want to know about it, I have a dedicated wait list for this, so please click on the link in the description section of this video, where you get to be informed consistently about the progression of this live cohort masterclass about computational modeling. So thank you for your interest in doing those 2 things, and let's get back to the video. The second lesson, again, is very much keen to the philosophy of academia. As someone, again, who works in academia, we publish papers. And we're encouraged to make our papers open source. That means anyone in the world can pick up these papers and read. And so to see an AI tool that's made by DeepSeek being open source, meaning that anyone in the world can get hold of the code and begin to create their own variants of whatever AI model that they want to do. This is converse to what you see with OpenAI. Even though the name said OpenAI, they are clearly not open in terms of how they release the software and what they try to achieve with their code. And so open science is alive and is well, and that for me is gratifying to see that this kind of organization made up of young people are looking at a world where they create a software tool, people get hold of the software tool and use it to do amazing things. And it's good to see that DeepSeek is following this pathway, which again, traditionally academics have always been committed in doing. The third thing around that is the concept of protectionism. In fact, protectionism, we know, hinders science. One of the reasons why this DeepSeek team tried, are successful was the fact that America prevented them from getting hold of the GPUs, the computational resources they would need. And so they decided to invent, and today their software is much more effective, much cheaper. So what lesson do we learn from that? And this speaks to you again, if you're a PhD student, if you're an academic. How much protection do you ring fence what you're doing? How much of it are you sharing? In fact, one of the reasons why I am this channel sharing a lot of what I know is because I believe that someone somewhere is going to benefit from the things that I talk about on this channel. And so as companies, as universities, as administrators, as academics, I hope that the lesson that we're learning from the DeepSeek team is that we do need to share. I'm not sure what DeepSeek is going to achieve in future. I'm not sure how it's going to change the world. But I like the fact and the conviction of these young men that they decided to share their codes with anyone. Number 4 thing that I want to talk about is from a quote that I believe in and something that I buy into quite a lot. And that is from this young man called Austin Kleon. And he wrote a book called Still Like an Artist. And I'm just going to quote from one of the sections of that book. And he said, one of the quotes says, start copying what you love. Copy, 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 copy. At the end of the copy, you will find yourself. And people are blaming the team in DeepSeek that they are basically copying what OpenAI ChatGPT code has achieved. And maybe to a large extent, they may be right. But clearly, these young people who are working behind DeepSeek, they've done quite an amazing work of not only copy, 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 but they've got to a stage where they've found themselves. That's why they're able to create a code that costs just under $6 million. When the person that they are copying from, in quotes, if they're actually copying, spend billions of dollars to achieve this. Of course, when you think about ChatGPT, it wasn't always the first. There was Google Brain. And Google Brain were the ones who came up with the ideas, and then OpenAI adopted that, modified it. And then there's that continuous cycle of people beginning and copying others. But as they do that, you end up getting to a stage where you find yourself. And I think what DeepSeek is showing us that it's okay to imitate what others are doing, provided at the end of your imitation, you find yourself. That means you create something that is unique, you create something that is different, you create something that is probably cheaper, you create something that makes the world a better place. But it's okay to take inspiration from the work of others. What I believe DeepSeek has done is that they've taken inspiration from the work of others. For those that don't know, they use this concept of chain of thought to make their training of the models work better. They use another philosophy called mixture of experts to help distillation. These are all new ideas, and they are making this as avenues to make life a little bit easier when it comes to AI computation. And so it didn't cost them as much, and they were able to produce this code very quickly. But the key is that they copied and copied and copied, in quotes, and ultimately they found themselves. And allied to that is my 5th point as a lesson. So one of the strategies that they're using when it comes to their software is something called the mixture of experts. And the easiest way that I'm going to explain this is like some quotation someone said, that what ChatGPT tried to do is to be an Einstein. That means someone that knows everyone. Really a genius. Basically a jack of all trades that knows everything. But what the team at DeepSeek had done is essentially to be like a university. And within university, you've got departments. You've got departments of mechanical engineering. You have departments of history, departments of languages. You've got departments of medicine. And that means, depending on the specialization of what you want to work in, you take your problem to that department. So if you want to solve a computational modeling problem, it makes sense to come to engineering. However, if you've got a medical problem, it makes sense to go to medicine. Or if you've got a language problem, then you go to humanities and English and the languages. And so this is sort of the principle behind what the team at DeepSeek have done. So their mixture of experts is basically to make sure that they compartmentalize the problem you're trying to solve to the right department. So if my question is about an engineering problem, then all the variables in their system that relate to non-engineering principles would be suspended, and then all the resources will be optimized for solving an engineering problem. And the lesson from that is that we still need specialization. This concept of being the jack of all trades and master of all is not really ideal. So the lesson I'm learning from that is, especially as students, as academics, as researchers, that you do need to still work on your area of specialty. It's okay not to be very, very versed in another field. If all I know, or maybe a lot of the videos I make on this channel is about RV modeling, about computational modeling, that's okay. I may not be able to make videos on some other things, but that's okay. Because the more specialized you are, the more you are able to condense all your resources, all your intellect, all your capacity, all your acumen in a given problem and solve that problem brilliantly. And so this is the lesson that we're learning from this. And this is what I believe, for you, specialize. In the world of YouTube, we call it niche down. Niche down to area of specialty, focus on it. It may not be the most amazing, but you're going to make a great contribution to the world. And so the guys at DeepSeek did this. Every problem that the user brings to solve, they find a department, they find an expert that will work on that. And that means you get your solutions quickly. And so the people that don't have much experience about what you're talking about, they can keep quiet while the expert in the room speaks. And this is what academia is all about. This is what knowledge is all about. And that's a lesson that I'm taking. I think the other sixth point, which is sort of maybe a minor point, is the fact that the guys at DeepSeek actually set out with sort of, a mission to change the world, not driven by finance, but actually just making a difference in the world. And people have criticized ChatGPT, maybe probably that's how they started, and maybe they're evolving a little bit away from that. But I like the fact that DeepSeek guys are motivated, not necessarily by money, but simply because they want to give the world a facility that can make the explorations of AI much quicker, much readily available for everyone. And they've made it open source. And that means anyone could actually use them. And this is just amazing. So you can imagine someone in some developing parts of the world that don't have the resources to subscribe, let's say, to ChatGPT. And so all the amazing facilities of ChatGPT, they can't use that because they haven't got the resources to do it. And then all of a sudden their partner, they get a hold of DeepSeek. Do you know what difference that will make to them? All they need is a browser. And spending a bit of time on the internet, they are able to learn a lot. They're able to make a difference. And this democratization of knowledge, this equitable use of resources is something that I find really amazing, by the fact that these guys are not motivated by commerce, but they are motivated by making a difference. And I would not be surprised if DeepSeek become really widespread across the world. I know I'm sounding quite so much in favor of DeepSeek in this video, and I'm not intending to be so, but really I'm learning quite a lot just by the whole DeepSeek encounter, by the philosophy of the inventors of the software. And I just thought that there are lessons for us, especially as academics, as students, as researchers, as people who are interested in the AI discourse, to see how we can make a difference in the world. And I like the fact that commerce is not number one. Of course, with every positive thing, I believe there are still things that we need to be aware of. And I think it's around the concept of censorship. It continues to be a battle that we have to fight. And I think there's a lesson for us to learn. At the moment, what DeepSeek represents is freedom, but we don't know for how long. We don't know for how long, the company China is going to have to work with the software. We don't know what is going to happen. At the moment, it's free, but only time will tell whatever future is. I know that if you search on DeepSeek for something around the Tiananmen Square, you don't get any output from that. and which is a shame, because it's part of the history, the rich history of the people of China. But it seems like there's a little bit of censorship around that. And I believe if the software continues to be much more relevant and more and more people will come on to use it, I don't know what is going to happen, with the Communist Party in China in terms of how they are going to engage with that. So there is this specter of censorship. And maybe this can become an issue for companies who are trying to build their AI infrastructure around DeepSeek. It may be also an issue for universities who may want to adopt DeepSeek. So there are real issues around the censorship specter hanging over this company. And that in itself is a shame. But that also becomes a lesson for us to be aware of. How you do your research, where you're doing your research. If all your global visions and you're doing in a place where maybe you don't have the freedom to share, that can become a hindrance to your work. So I do encourage you to watch this space and let's see what comes out of the whole DeepSeek experience. But as I sign off, I just want to again thank you for watching so far and to say that really a lot is happening in the AI world, and I'll be more than interested to see what you think about some of the lessons. Maybe there are some other lessons that you have learned. I do want to read them in the comment section of this video. And let's just continue the conversation. I'll try and make more videos around DeepSeek and maybe in terms of its use in computational modeling. But I wanted to make this very first video on reflecting on my lessons that I've learned, especially as a university academic, watching the world respond to the emergence of DeepSeek. Thank you for your interest in this channel, and I'll see you in the next. Bye-bye.